of the Brighton Town Board. As we do at every meeting, we will be very shortly beginning the open forum portion of the meeting. That's the opportunity for members of the community to share their comments with the town board. When we get there, if you're watching us on YouTube or our cable access channel, and if you would like to participate in the open forum, you'll have to join us by Zoom. And there are detailed instructions for making that connection on the Town of Brighton webpage, townofbrighton.org. We do continue to make all of our town board meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community. Our ASL interpreters tonight, as they generally are, Allie and Heather, thank you both so much for the good work you do. As a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, if you're here in the room, is on the back table. If you're watching us remotely, the agenda, and for that matter, all of the other materials that we, the board, will be reviewing as we make our decisions tonight, all of that is on the town's webpage, again, www.townofbrighton.org. I'll ask if you're able to rise and join us in the pledge. Councilmember Warner, if you'd lead us. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask Meredith Dragon to join me at the podium.
Thank you. I need a step stool.
Last night, I attended an event at Nazareth College. Councilmember Corrado was there, as was Judge Falk. It was an observance of International Holocaust Remembrance Day, which actually occurs on January 27th each year. The reason for that date is on January 27th, 1945, the Auschwitz-Birkenau concentration camp was liberated. And really that was a day that the world saw with its own eyes, to a greater extent, the magnitude of the horror of the Holocaust. As we all know, 6 million Jews killed along with countless other people, Poles, Roma, LGBTQ people, so many, many more people with disabilities. One of the reasons today it's still important to observe Holocaust Remembrance Day is to counter those who would dare to even deny that the Holocaust took place. Never again and never forget are words that must be heard over and over to ensure that Jews are never again targeted for genocide. I want to thank the Konar Center for Tolerance and Jewish Studies at Nazareth, the Jewish Federation of Greater Rochester, and CHAI, the Center for Holocaust Awareness and Information, for sponsoring last night's event. Tonight, the town board is issuing its proclamation in observance of Holocaust Remembrance Day, and I'm pleased and grateful that Meredith Dragon, Executive Director of the Jewish Federation, is here to accept the proclamation. I will read it and then give you an opportunity to say a few words. Whereas International Holocaust Remembrance Day marks the anniversary of the liberation of the Nazi concentration and extermination camp of Auschwitz-Birkenau on January 27, 1945. Whereas the Holocaust was the state-sponsored systematic persecution and annihilation of 6 million European Jews by Nazi Germany and its collaborators between 1933 and 1945. Non-Jews such as Roma, people with disabilities, Poles, were also targeted for racial, ethnic, or national reasons. National reasons, while millions more, including homosexuals, Jehovah's Witnesses, and political dissidents, also suffered grievous oppression and death under Nazi tyranny. Whereas Holocaust denial and distortion attempts to delegitimize the history of the Holocaust by twisting established facts about the size and causes of the Nazi genocide, and if left unchecked, it threatens human rights and risks the continued promotion of conspiratorial thinking and violent extremism. Whereas the work of the Jewish Federation of Greater Rochester, through the Center for Holocaust Awareness and Information and the Levine Center to End Hate, perseveres the history and living legacy of the Holocaust, preserves the history and living legacy of the Holocaust, and promotes understanding between different groups in support of a safe, just, and civil society. And whereas together we bear the responsibility of remembering the Holocaust, educating others about the causes, consequences, and dynamics that enabled such heinous crimes to occur, and declaring that such crimes must never happen again. Now therefore be it proclaimed that I, William W. Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor, and the members of the Town Council do hereby recognize January 27th, 2024 as International Holocaust Remembrance Day in the town of Brighton. We thank the Jewish Federation of Greater Rochester for its meaningful and numerous contributions to the betterment of the community, and ask all Brightonians to remember the facts of the Holocaust and remain vigilant against hatred and persecution. And this proclamation is signed today, this 24th day of January, by myself and by the members of the Brighton Town Board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith. I'll give
Thanks,
this to
Bill.
you. Let's do a... Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
podium is yours.
Thank you. I will I will be brief. Thank you so much. I want to thank you, Bill, and all of our Brighton Town Board members for this proclamation. It's deeply appreciated and deeply meaningful for our community. The Federation at High continues to support our Holocaust survivors in the Greater Rochester area, of which there are still about 100 here, which is really quite amazing. This is obviously a rapidly aging community that needs a lot of help and support, and it's a community that deserves to be treated especially kindly because of what these survivors endured so many years ago. These survivors, were witness to the atrocities that actually birthed the word genocide, because we had never seen the systematic slaughter of people in the way we did with the Holocaust, and the word genocide had never existed until there was one that became coined with the Holocaust. Our survivors have reminded me over and over again that the Holocaust did not begin with slaughter and gas chambers. It began with rhetoric, misinformation, and Bill used the word dehumanization, which I will share. That was the beginning of the Holocaust in the 1920s and 30s. It began with breeding people to hate Jews and to breed contempt in society for what Jews represented. And many of the survivors I've spent time with in the last months and years, and they've reminded me that for them, the world feels kind of similar right now, and they're scared. They're scared that our world feels a little bit too much like the 1920s and the 1930s, and many of our Holocaust survivors today are actually suffering trauma, and they're reliving trauma from the past because of what they saw on October 7th and what they saw before and what they're seeing after. And the Jewish people right now, frankly, are really suffering from some generational trauma because these wounds are still very ripe and they're open. So I thank you for this proclamation. It's deeply meaningful, and I leave you with a request that I have made before, so I hope I don't sound like a broken record, but I will make the request again because I think that it's a timely time to make the ask. and that is I would ask the Brighton Town Board to consider adopting the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. IHRA is the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. This definition is widely accepted, not only in the United States, across the world. It's the United States government's definition of anti-Semitism. It's the European Union's definition of anti-Semitism. Towns and cities across the United States have adopted this definition, and it's becoming more and more popular to do so. So at this time, I know that it would make a strong statement to our Jewish community, which is really once again in pain, if the Brighton Town Board would consider adopting the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. Always happy to come back and talk about it some more, but this is deeply appreciated, this proclamation. Thank you, and as always, we appreciate the support that we always feel in the town of Brighton, especially during such difficult times. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you, Meredith.
I hope I didn't take too much time.
No, not at all. I have to say that some of the most moving and meaningful events that I have attended, whether at the J or elsewhere, are Holocaust survivors, first, second generation, and more. It is such a vivid reminder of the impact, generation through the generations, of the Holocaust. So thank you for being here, Meredith. We will now begin our open forum, which we, again, hold at the beginning of every town board meeting. And you are welcome to stay, but don't feel that you have to, Meredith. All right.
Just a little curious.
The open forum is an opportunity for members of the public to address the town board regarding any matter that relates to the town, whether or not it's on our agenda this evening. If you're here in person and would like to speak during the open forum, all you need to do is raise your hand. I'll call on you. I would ask you to come to the podium. Please, if you would, state your name and address. If you are watching us on Zoom, and you have to be on Zoom, again, to join the open forum, you'll be admitted from the Zoom waiting room. And when you're in, raise your hand. If you would like to speak, raise your hand, the Zoom raised hand function. All speakers during the open forum, whether you're in person or remotely, I would ask that you limit your remarks to 3 minutes, and I will give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. We may not be able to answer questions you may ask, particularly if a question that relates to matters not on our agenda, but our goal here tonight and during the town board open forum that we hold at every meeting, we want to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts, your questions, your insights with us, and to be able to have us listen to your words. So please direct your remarks during the open forum to the town board and not to the room or to other speakers. Please refrain from personal attacks or outbursts of any kind during the open forum, out of respect for your fellow speakers and for the time of everyone here tonight. The open forum is now open. Is there anyone here in the room that would like to speak tonight? Seeing none, is there anyone on our Zoom that has the hand raised? And I don't see anyone.
Bill, if we have no one, I move to approve the agenda.
Second?
Thank you both. Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Maley?
Aye. Tonight we have 2 public hearings on the agenda. The first one, and I hope I don't begin to sound like a broken record on this one, but it is the continuation of the hearing on the incentive zoning proposal for a Topgolf sports and entertainment facility near the corner of East Henrietta Road and Westfall Road. I have been advised again that the developers of that project continue to seek additional information from the state, and therefore they don't plan on attending tonight's meeting, which is a continuation of previous public hearings. We will keep the public hearing open following tonight's meeting. No decisions will be made on the project tonight, but if there is anyone here, once we do open the public hearing that wants to speak, you'll have the opportunity to do so and have your comments included in the record. Again, if you're remote and want to be a part of this public hearing on the Topgolf or our next public hearing tonight, please join the Zoom, use the raised hand function, and you'll be ready to go. So I declare this public hearing on the proposed incentive zoning and rezoning application for Topgolf to be open. Is there anyone here in the room that would like to address the board during this public hearing? Is there anyone that would like to address the board from Zoom? Hearing none, can I have a motion to table this public hearing until our next until our next town board meeting on February 14th, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Bill, I move that we table this public hearing until our next meeting on February 14th at 7 p.m.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? I guess a motion to table can't be discussed. So, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mallon.
Aye. Our next public hearing tonight is a public hearing to consider an amendment of condition number 5 of the previous incentive zoning approval given for the Quickleys project in the 12 Corners for properties located at 1950 through 1966 Monroe Avenue. And I'll ask the town clerk, has the necessary legal notice been given in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor, notice was published in the January 8th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. With notice having been given, I declare this public hearing to be open, and I will ask our Commissioner of Public Works just to provide a little background as to why we're holding this particular public hearing.
Sure. So the incentive zoning application as part of this development indicated that a decorative art feature that is to be implemented as part of the project was to be finalized prior to the issuance of a building permit. At this point, staff and the town feels that it's better to finalize that our piece of artwork prior to the issuance of a C of O to allow the project to continue while still working on this art feature that we're looking to implement.
Thanks, Everett. And one of the reasons is, we've heard from the state with some right-of-way related issues, and it just seemed prudent not to push that piece of the project forward at this.
Yes, the state had a general comment as part of the review that there could be potential takings of this area where the art feature is to be installed as part of the Monroe Avenue reconstruction rehabilitation project, but no specifics on what that might entail. And so at this time, like you mentioned, Supervisor, it's prudent to delay that installation.
Thanks, Everett. Is there anyone that would like to address the subject of this public hearing here in the room? Is there anyone on Zoom that would like to address this public hearing? And again, I would note, if you would like to, please use the raised hand Zoom function, and you will be unmuted and given the opportunity to speak during the public hearing. There is no one here in this room with their hand raised. There is no one on the Zoom with their hand raised. So I declare this.
Prior to declaring the public hearing
Oh, yes,
closed,
I'm sorry, yes.
No. I did just want to give attorney to the town the opportunity to speak to the
I'm
issue.
glad you're looking at him. John.
Yeah, thank you, Supervisor and Councilperson Wilt. I only wanted to add briefly that this is a request only to amend a condition of the incentive zoning approval. There is not otherwise any change in the scope of the project, nor is there any change in the scope of amenities or incentives that were granted as part of the project.
Thanks. Yeah, that's important to note. Again, one last opportunity. Anybody here in the room or anybody on Zoom that would like to address this public hearing? Seeing none, I declare this public hearing to be closed, and I will ask Councilmember Corrado.
Yes, in the matter of amending condition number 5 of the Quickly's Development Incentive Zoning Proposal for properties located at 1950 and 1966 Monroe Avenue, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. We have no communications being entered into the record tonight, so we'll go right.
Supervisor, if I
Yes.
may, the board received a communication from Legislator Sue Hughes Smith earlier today in relation to the benefits of geothermal, and since we have a related matter on the agenda tonight, I'd like to offer this for.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. If I know it
conclusion?
just came in today.
It did, and I'm not sure if everyone saw it or had the opportunity to read it, but
You want to, since you've got it there, why don't you, would you
it
like
is
to
not
read it?
brief, but I'll do my best to to read through it. She does include a lot of valuable, pertinent information, since it is an area of her expertise. So Legislator Susan Hughes Smith writes to the board, thank you for all the hard work and many often thankless hours that you spend on behalf of the Brighton community. I'm especially grateful for your willingness to embrace new ideas and to lead our area and communities across the state in implementing them. It takes courage to be first, and I am proud to live in a community that time and again demonstrates courage. I'm writing to ask you once again to demonstrate that leadership and courage by including the conversion of Brighton Town Hall's heating system to a geothermal heat pump system in the renovation. I know you accept the seriousness of the climate crisis. 2023 was the hottest year on record, to follow the hottest decade on record. Indeed, anyone born in this century has lived every single month of their lives with the Earth's temperature above normal. I know you understand that this change to the Earth's energy balance is driving large-scale and rapid shifts in ecosystems and weather patterns that not only destroy and disrupt lives, but also create a strain on the economy. I know you understand how our financial and government systems have barriers that slow the adoption of sustainable practices that could mitigate the damages and create a healthier future. It is for that reason that I recognize that it will take courage to reject the status quo and to instead choose the newer technology. While the continual rise in atmospheric carbon dioxide has dominated the public narrative on the climate crisis, there has also been a steady rise in atmospheric methane levels. Methane has risen more than 160% above pre-industrial levels, and as noted by the International Energy Agency, accounts for 30% of the current rise in global temperature. Since methane absorbs 87 times more heat per molecule when compared to carbon dioxide, a rapid and sustained decline in methane emissions is necessary to limiting near-term temperature rise. This, coupled with the fact that the production and distribution of methane results in the intentional and accidental release of the gas, makes shifting our heating systems away from fossil gas a necessity and a high priority. The good news is that geothermal heat pump technology can deliver comfort and affordability and is already being implemented in our area. Not only have many individual homeowners installed geothermal systems, but large commercial buildings have switched during their renovations. Two notable examples are the factory, where the restaurant Nosh is located, and the building that includes Fuego Coffee. These all-electric buildings are heated with geothermal energy. The owner of the buildings chose to switch off fossil gas because it was the financially smart investment. The upfront cost for geothermal is higher, but the operating costs of these buildings are lower, and for systems that will run for decades, selecting the system with the lower operating cost is a smart decision. While the mechanisms for managing costs for a municipality are different than for private business, there are tools for managing costs, and if an investment is made in a new fossil gas heating system, there will be additional resistance to spending money to replace it later. Now is the time to make the switch. Another advantage to the geothermal is greater cost certainty. These systems run off electricity, which is subject to much lower cost fluctuations than fossil gas, a benefit for budgeting. Please seize the opportunity to do what is right. I know you have the courage. Sincerely, Susan Hughes Smith.
Thank you for reading that. Why don't...
I can submit it
Yeah,
electronically, too. I think we've all got it.
That'd be great. Yeah, thank you very much for submitting that. And we do have an item on the agenda tonight, but since we've got this letter, it's probably a good time to just sort of update the big picture of why we're talking geothermal tonight. This building, it's a beautiful building. It also dates back to the 50s. And as we've discussed a lot recently, the HVAC system in this building is original issue. It dates back to the 50s too. Obviously it's inefficient, it's cranky, and as County Legislator Sue Hughes Smith notes, there are options today that are much more efficient, particularly geothermal. The specific action we're taking tonight is to drill a test well, or to approve a contract to drill a test well here on the site to a depth of 500 feet to determine the geothermal capacity of the land. In other words, the differential in temperature, the amount of increased heat as you go down into the earth, but also whether there are any other issues, particularly including whether there are pools of methane which have been found at certain locations underground here in the town when people have conducted geothermal projects. This is part of a project that's driven by the need to update our HVAC system, but I anticipate will be a more comprehensive renovation of this portion of the building, particularly including asbestos remediation, because we'll be in doing the work on all of the pipes and everything else. As well as modernizing this room, most of our office areas to make them more efficient, and also looking to make the building more accessible with a handicapped accessible entrance at the front of the building that will improve access while maintaining the very attractive and symmetrical look and feel of the building. We've also, over the years, heard a lot of concerns, rightly so, about the condition of the paving in Town Hall, all parts of Town Hall, and so we anticipate repaving Town Hall, as well as addressing drainage issues that are part of the cause of the deterioration of the asphalt pavement around Town Hall. It's a big project. We intend to use ARPA money. We've talked about that, but there will also be the need to issue bonds and look for additional grant opportunities to fund the rest of the project. But it is a vital project. We will know a lot more about whether we can, in fact, use geothermal once we do this test well. That's why we're doing the test well, to determine, again, the temperature increase as you go down, but also the presence of methane. So stay tuned. I think it's something that all of us want to examine very closely. It's one of the options, and it's an option that we are taking very seriously as we look to not only New York's CLCPA, the Climate Act that we all have an obligation to comply with to reduce emissions over the next couple of decades, but because it is the right thing to do to reduce our emissions, not only from government operations, but within the community as a whole. So, long explanation. Thank you for the letter, and I would ask then Christine for a motion to receive and file.
I move that we receive and file this communication.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailer.
Aye. Now we'll go to committee reports. Robin, Community Services.
Thank you, Bill. The Community Services Committee met last Wednesday, January 17th, and among the items that we discussed were under continuing business park issues. The Parks Department is in the process of setting up its service contracts for 2024. And they are also reaching out to the Highway Department to determine how to incorporate the Winter Farmers Market area into the current mowing contracts and/or internal task distribution. The heat pump and solar panel installation was completed at Carmen Clark Lodge, resulting in the town's first net zero structure. Buckland Park Lodge window replacement will be completed in February. The department has filled a weekend cleaning shift to supplement current staffing. Field rental requests are beginning to come in for upcoming outdoor athletic seasons, and the parks will be closed for eclipse programming on April 8th. The playground at Town Park will be installed this spring. Please be aware of restricted access during this installation. We are investigating the installation of a splash pad at Town Hall site as well. An update to our recreation programs. Winter Spring program registration is currently underway. Entries are being accepted until February 28th or until spaces are filled for the Brickyard Trail annual art exhibition. Many thanks to Peggy Dempsey and the remainder of the art show team for their role in this undertaking. Brighton Seniors MLK presentation was very well received. Brighton Seniors will host a field trip to the Winter Farmers Market building on Tuesday, January 30th. That will include a presentation on the Farmers Market Barn project, a tour, and other informative programming. Finally, we had a discussion regarding maintenance and security requirements at the Brighton Recreation Center facility. An update to our Winter Farmers Market project. The last remaining exterior panels have been installed. There was a discussion of professional photography to be taken by the architecture firm, given the market's current state of completeness. The Winter Farmers Market won Project of the Year award from the APWA, American Association of Public Works, for a project less than $5 million and will be honored at a ceremony tomorrow, January 25th. We are garnering feedback from vendors regarding the potential for midweek market opportunity. Finally, there was a discussion of snow removal and salting and other punch list items to be addressed, including accessibility concerns. We had a very extensive update with regard to our Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity Advisory Board. Our DEI officer, Miriam Moore, attended the meeting, and we had a lengthy discussion of 2023 events and activities, a year in review, if you will, including programming regarding Martin Luther King Day, Black History Month, Pride, panelist discussion groups, partnerships with other community organizations, the Town Hall, Town Talk series, and applications for grant funding. This year, the IDEA Board is looking to expand and strengthen its activities for 2024, including enhanced programming for AAPI, Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, a continued strong presence at the Brighton Farmers Market, and a return to the Town Talk series. There was a discussion of Pride events and activities, including increasing staff participation in the Rock Pride Parade, which last year was a first for Brighton Town Hall staff and representatives of the community marching together in the parade. So we're going to continue that tradition. We're also going to continue the strong partnership with Empire State University for community programming. In addition to that, the IDEA Board secured funding from Advantage and ESL federal credit unions to support students and families within Brighton Central School District who may be facing financial hardship. We added 3 new IDEA Board members in the fall of 2023 and will continue to evaluate the need to recruit new membership. The 2024 MLK presentation was phenomenal, with a heightened interest and awareness from Brighton High School scholars and to be active and engaged with the IDEA Board. Again, we want to thank our Keepers of the Flame awardees, Reverend Dr. Lawrence Hargrave and former Dean Brenda Lee, who were worthy honorees. They had very impassioned remarks, so thank you for your participation. 2 service projects came together this year with regard to Martin Luther King Day. There was a service project at the Mary Cariola Center on January 10th and also at Trillium Health on January 23rd. Thank you for all IDEA Board members who participated in those service events. Miriam also highlighted the need for physical accessibility as a critically important area of impact, and will continue to evaluate and address that throughout town infrastructure and functions. Finally, she noted that that community-wide various organizations and entities are reaching out to the IDEA Board for partnerships. Then an update to our clean energy community priority actions and sustainability funds. We noted that the NYSERDA Clean Energy Community Program has been revamped, and we did not submit for the 4,000 point level funding award before that category was retired. However, we've already secured sufficient points to qualify for grant funding at the new 5,000 point level, which encompasses a monetary award of $100,000 as well as additional opportunities for timeliness in achieving that goal. And we also discussed potential federal and state grant funding opportunities regarding other sustainability projects. We had a small update with regard to the Pollinator Pathway Challenge. The Conservation Board has created a small task force to start to build the content and process for the Pollinator Pathway Challenge that the town will support, and updates should be provided to the committee and Recreation Department over the next couple of months. Under items of new business, our town historian, Mary Jo Lanfear, issued her annual report, and there was a discussion of her upcoming projects. And also, we noted that there was an increase in tours requested for the Buckland Farmhouse, as there's been commensurate increased interest from our community members. Finally, we just had an update with regard to our annual clean sweep and recycling events. The permit has been submitted to the county. A permit application was submitted to the county for the clean sweep, right-of-way incursions, and that has now been approved. Facility use application has been submitted to the Brighton Central School District, also has been approved, and we're in the process of securing monetary and in-kind sponsorship requests, and there was a discussion of various vendors that might be able to participate with us. Upcoming events. As I mentioned, the Brickyard Trail Art Exhibition will occur at the Buckland Farmhouse, 1341 Westfall Road on March 9th, 10th, 16th, and 17th, 23rd, and 24th. Entries are now being accepted for the annual Brickyard Trail Art Exhibitions Art must be framed and ready to hang. Again, space is limited, and that registration deadline is February 28th or until full. Full details and entry forms are available online at www.townofbrighton.org/rec, REC. Our annual Arbor Day tree planting ceremony will occur at Buckland Park, 1341 Westfall Road on Saturday, April 27th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And again, signups are available at our Town of Brighton Recreation website. Our annual Brighton Clean Sweep event will occur at Brighton Town Hall, 2300 Elmwood Avenue on Saturday, May 11th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. We hope the community will join us in this annual tradition. And finally, our semi-annual electronics recycling and secure document shredding event will take place at the Brighton Highway Department parking lot, 1941 Elmwood Avenue on Saturday, June 1st, 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And we did have to change that date. It's occurring a little later than anticipated just because of the availability of vendors who participate. The next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be on Wednesday, February 21st, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. or immediately following our Finance and Administrative Services Committee meeting at the Brighton Recreation Center, 1666 Winton Road. We do ask that you access the Recreation Center from the Winton Road entrance. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. We do hear that hum. I imagine those of you out there and wherever you're hearing remotely, we're trying to get that fixed. So we don't quite know what's going on, but I hope it's not completely disrupting everybody's ability to hear. Moving on to the Finance Committee. Nate?
Yes. Bill, the Finance Administrative Services Committee last met on January 17th. Many of those matters that we discussed in the meeting are on today's agenda, so I will not read through them all right now, but I will say that the next meeting of the Finance and Administrative Services Committee is on February 7th at 8:30 a.m. right here at Town Hall. I want to note for the record that's my wife Samantha Prezi's birthday. I remembered it. It's on the record. We all heard that. And that's all I have for my report.
Well, we'll wish Samantha a happy birthday when we get there.
Maybe we can sing at the meeting.
There will be cake, right? There were bagels for your first meeting, cake for your second meeting.
Okay.
Run
Put me on the spot here. I'll bring
Upping
cake.
the ante.
I'll bring some cake.
Finance is the place to be. Public safety. Chris?
Thanks, Bill. We have not had a meeting since I last reported at our last town board meeting. Those are monthly meetings. The next Public Safety Services meeting will be February 13th at 0800 hour. That's Tuesday, the 13th.
Thank you, Chris. And finally, the Public Works Committee. Christine?
Likewise, Public Works has not met since the last town board meeting, or since we last reported. The next meeting will be February 13th, immediately following Public Safety, or at 9 a.m., whichever comes second, first.
Thanks, Christine. Moving to new business, reading and approval of claims. Nate?
Yes, earlier today I reviewed claims totaling $2,819,892. Some notable claims include my favorite, preparing for the solar eclipse. The 2024 eclipse glasses were ordered, which is very exciting. And we also have a claim here from Ravi Engineering and Land Surveying. That's payment for design and construction services for French Road Bridge and Design, and for services for Chelmsford Lane Culvert as well, at a total of $12,294.36. So repairing bridges, Public Works Committee doing some good work over there. And so, Bill, the claims appear to be in order, and I move for them to be approved.
Second.
Any discussion? I'll just note, yes, we are working on those bridges and culverts, and we're doing so with the assistance of the state, the Bridge New York grant program, which is funding the French Road project, and which we submitted an application last week based on the 2024 grant program deadline for the Chelmsford Lane project. So more to follow on that one. But yes, Ravi Engineering is the firm that has been handling design and related work on both of those projects. Any further discussion on those claims? Then Dan, can you please call the roll?
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Why don't you do the next one too, Nate?
Yep. So let's see, the next matter seeks to authorize a supervisor to enter into an agreement with the Beasley Group for cyber insurance in an amount not to exceed $15,850 for the 2024 calendar year. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second?
Anybody wanted to see how big a cyber insurance policy can be? There's a lot of paperwork there, but it's obviously very important. Any discussion on that? This is a less than 2% increase in the premium for 2024. There's nothing further. Dan, please call the roll on
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Since I use the vending machines in this building more than any of the rest of us, it might be appropriate, but I'm not going to make this resolution. Robin, if you would, please.
Certainly. We've got to keep you in Dr. Pepper, Bill.
That's the one.
The next matter seeks to authorize a supervisor to enter into an agreement with Cyrnus Vending Services to locate vending machines in certain town facilities in exchange for $400 annually for 2 years, starting January 1, 2024, with the option to renew for 2 one-year terms. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Any discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. That 400, by the way, is what they pay us.
Yes.
We're the ones, the Dr. Pepper addicts and other addicts are the ones that put the money in the machine. Next matter, Nate.
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute an engagement letter with Mengel Metzer Bar and Company for the total cost not to exceed $31,850 and $33,125 respectively for 2023 and 2024 town audits and special review services. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second?
These are the audits which we do annually and help make sure the public can be confident in our financial condition. Earl, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
I don't really need to add anything other than we did negotiate them down to a lower increase for the next 2 years, so.
Yep, always helpful. If there's no further discussion, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailing.
Aye. Robin.
Certainly, the next matter seeks to accept a grant from the United States Tennis Association School Youth Tennis Initiative in the amount of $977.89 for the development of a tennis program for the Recreation Department's after-school program and amend the 2024 budget as necessary for said grant. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
Great that we'll be able to work with them with a little financial support. As a tennis player growing up, I love to see kids getting into the game. Any further discussion? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Christine?
Yes, the next matter seeks to declare as surplus one 2008 Chevy Impala LT from the Recreation Department and authorize its disposal at the next Roy Teetsworth municipal auction conducted either live or online. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
16 years old, about time. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
I only want clarification on the pronunciation of the auction company because I have been saying it possibly wrong for 6 to 8 years.
Do you know, Everett? I don't know, honestly. I've always pronounced it Teetsworth.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go with that.
However it's pronounced, Dan, if you'd call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Christine, why don't you do the next one, too?
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to enter into a memo of understanding with Nazareth College. I believe it's Nazareth University now.
Yeah.
With Nazareth University to allow graduate level art therapy students to provide programming for the Recreation Department at no cost to the town. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
These collaborative opportunities are wonderful, and I appreciate our rec department for putting this idea together, and of course the folks at Nazareth for an educational opportunity for their students. We have a motion seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Chris?
Next item, Bill, is set a public hearing for the removal and replacement of what appear to be a dozen trees at various locations in town. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Yeah, that would be a lot to read all of those. But they are, again, we do this regularly, but this is under our tree law. We're a Tree City, USA. But more importantly, we've really taken an extra step to make sure that significant trees that are larger than 30 inches in diameter, get this extra level of review before the town board. And these are trees in the town right away. So they're town trees to begin with, but we want to make sure that they really are, in a condition where they need to be removed. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Everett, anything you want to add? We've got
No, other than
reports.
the trees have been evaluated by the Conservation Board and the Public Works Committee, and they're being removed due to health or hazardous conditions.
All right, hearing none. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Chris, why don't you do the next one, too?
Bill, the next item is to approve a membership renewal with the Association of Towns of the State of New York for the year 2024 and to designate the supervisor as our official delegate to attend the annual business meeting of the association. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Will you continue your term as,
My term as president of the State Association of Towns runs through May 1st. So it's been,
thank you for doing that, Bill.
well, it's been an interesting year. It's been a great opportunity to work with other town officials and our town staff. We just had Sarah Brancatella, one of our association attorneys, gave her first legislative update of the year, addressing, people who don't follow the state closely think the budget is a budget. When you get into the budget, what you realize is that not only is the state budget a budget in the traditional sense, but it's also sort of the repository for all sorts of other state programming and the funding of that programming. So Sarah did a terrific Zoom presentation today on the budget and specifically on various programming. But that's what the association does. It provides training, it advocates on behalf of the town, And in particular, the high point of the year is our annual meeting and training session in February. So we have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
Can I just jump in here and say, Supervisor, thank you for sending me to the new member orientation hosted by the Association of Towns right here in Henrietta, almost in Brighton, which is pretty good. And I think I walked out with this many books on town government. So that was an excellent training, and glad that you'll be going back as our official delegate.
Thanks. We had over 150 this year, and the week after the session here, earlier this month, they did the same session in Albany and had at least as many, I think even more people there, because I know there were some folks from Long Island that were planning on coming here that for weather reasons weren't able to make it. So that's another really important part of the training, and we keep using the fire hose metaphor, but I know this stuff comes at newly elected officials like a fire hose, so I'm glad we can give you that opportunity. If there's nothing further, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Christine?
The next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute the MS4 operator certification form in compliance with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation's SPDES general permit for stormwater discharges from municipal separate storm sewer systems. Say that 10 times fast. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second?
And now I will ask our Commissioner of Public Works to translate that into English. Everett.
Yeah, this one's a big deal. So as of January 3rd, 2024, the New York State DEC has issued a new MS4 permit. MS4 stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Systems. Essentially, the town of Brighton discharges its stormwaters through a separate system that's not combined with a sanitary sewer system. The last time that they asked us to sign a notice of intent, which is intent of compliance with this permit, was back in 2003. As part of this new permit they've issued, there's a tremendous amount of mandates and work that is expected from the town and its municipal staffing. And essentially this request is to enter into this, sign this form that says we understand what this means and we will comply with that permit. It is a requirement. It has to be done within 45 days. It's part of the state's version of the National Pollutant Elimination Discharge law, and it'll be tough for the staff, but it is a requirement.
Thanks, Everett. We have been at the forefront on working regionally on stormwater issues, and so more work.
Yes.
Any further discussion or questions of Everett? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye, and Robin, the last new business.
Certainly, the final matter seeks
Bless
to
you.
authorize the supervisor to execute an agreement with ACES Energy to conduct test drill and thermal conductivity testing for the Town Hall renovations project in the amount of $26,400 and to approve any necessary change orders not to exceed 10% of the contract amount for a total amount not to exceed $29,040. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the attorney to the town.
Second.
And this is the matter we discussed earlier in connection with legislator Hugh Smith's communication. They have, ACES has advised us that they expect drilling to take place the week of February 12th. And results of that testing will be available within, what, a week or two, they said afterwards?
Yeah, their proposal indicates 10 days, so I would say, yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
Good. Anything further? Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Manley?
Aye. Okay, matters of the supervisor. A couple things tonight. Again, a reminder, since winter has finally arrived, but winter parking regulations are in effect. No parking is allowed on any road or street in the town overnight between 2 and 7 a.m. The restriction is in effect regardless of current weather conditions. It is not an excuse to tell the judge it wasn't snowing. It's a time-based, November 1st through April 15th. So please don't put yourself in the line of fire for a ticket, because the police department is writing tickets. Our highway crew is still picking up those last few live Christmas trees that people are putting out on the street. Just like leaves, don't put them in the street, put them in the tree lawn or, on your lawn next to the street, but not in the street. Our highway crews will pick them up. They will take them to our a green landfill, and they'll be mulched. So they'll, go earth to earth. We've mentioned a couple times tonight, but April 8th is going to be a special day here in Brighton and in the Rochester area. That is the day of the total eclipse of the sun. Most of us, in any given area, you're lucky if you get an opportunity to see a total eclipse of the sun during your lifetime. This really is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm really excited to see this coming. The town of Brighton will be holding special festivities that afternoon from 1 till 5. The eclipse itself, it starts small and goes total. But the very beginning is just after 2 o'clock. Totality, which lasts for about 3 minutes, but everybody says is going to be the coolest 3 minutes of your life, is at about 20 after 3. And then after that, the sun returns. So we'll be holding special festivities that afternoon. As you heard, we'll have eclipse glasses. We'll have music. We'll have fun for people of all ages. And the sun will be blotted out from the sky, to use the words of a song. There's a lot of songs that kind of relate to eclipses. So hopefully our band, and we'll have more announcements to make about that.
I wonder if Bonnie Tyler has given rights to.
Bonnie Tyler is a big favorite. Total eclipse of the heart. Total eclipse in the park, as one of our sister communities is calling their event. But in any event, lots of fun, really excited. Stay tuned for more activity on
And if
April.
I may add about that, the school districts have scheduled a half-day or full day off. So the events are family-friendly, and
Absolutely.
no one will be missing classes for this event.
That's right. Brighton is half-day, the other districts are full-day off. As Robin mentioned, the Brighton Winter Farmers Market building is going to be honored at a dinner tomorrow night, the American Public Works Association local chapter. Great recognition with more to come. Can't say enough about the work our team here did, and of course, Sue Gardner-Smith, our market manager. And last, as a couple of us were saying at the start of the meeting, this is our good friend, Commissioner of Public Works Everett Garcia's last meeting with the Brighton Town Board. Much to our chagrin, Everett is, he's going over to the dark side. He's going to take a job in the private sector. I really hope that we have the opportunity to work with Everett many times in the future, because you've been here, 13 years? 13, yeah. Just before any of us started. In fact, I think the only person at the table that's been with the town of Brighton longer is Police Chief Dave Cathaldi. But you started as junior engineer. Was that your original title?
Yeah, assistant engineer.
Assistant engineer.
Yeah, junior engineer and so forth.
Right. We're going to miss you. Your work ethic is second to none. The way you work with members of the community, you got it all, Everett. We really appreciate all you've done for these last 13 years, and we're going to miss you. But thank you. Thanks for everything.
Well, thank you, Supervisor. I would just like to thank the board for giving me this opportunity of working with you, coming here straight out of college, essentially starting my career here. I've learned quite a bit. I've been mentored quite a bit. I've enjoyed forming bonds and friendships with you all, so I will very much miss each one of you.
Thank you. Matters of the town, matters of the attorney to the town.
Thank you, Supervisor. No matters to report, but would request an executive session for 2 matters, one leading to the promotion of a particular person, and 2 to discuss matters regarding pending litigation.
Will do. Matters of the clerk.
Just want to remind everyone, since the due date will be before our next meeting, the full or first installment of the town and county taxes on the bill says February 10th. That falls on a Saturday this year, so Monday the 12th will be the due date. So anything on or before that date will still be considered timely. So in person, we got drop boxes in the rear of the building as well in the public safety wing, so the office mail, et cetera. So.
Great. Thank you, Dan. Matters of the town board.
No items.
Okay, then can I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss a matter of the employment, the promotion of a particular person, as well as litigation?
Bill, I move that we go into executive session to discuss those matters.
Second?
Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember Werner?
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt?
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado?
Aye.
Councilmember Salzman?
Aye.
Supervisor Mailer?
Aye. Thank you to our interpreters, Heather and Allie. We appreciate your work. I do not anticipate that we'll be coming back into public session after our executive session, so our next meeting, I love it. No, I don't love it. When this happens, I don't love it at all. Our next meeting will be on Valentine's Day, February 14th.
Perfect. You understand that my husband does love that the meeting is on the 14th because it gives him at least one more day to be
Andy, we love you. Did we have them, did we vote on them? Yes, we did vote on the motion to go into executive session. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
She's going to think I'm making this up.
Right, exactly.